Guys, huh, I have a good one for you guys. I was just listening to Be Good. Oh, I love Be Good, man. Thank God he got monetized again. When he talks about feeling alone, I don't feel so alone anymore. I always forget that I'm not alone in this. I gotta spend more time on this channel. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna tell you guys something. This is incredible. I was narked again. I was narked again with like millions of other people who don't even realize it yet. I could be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. And it was not me who broke me out of it. There's a channel who debunks. And it's really, really disappointing. It's really disappointing. It's almost disappointing as finding out my girlfriend didn't love me and my parents didn't love me. Okay, it's not that disappointing, but it's disappointing, and I may disappoint a lot of people watching this now. It's a letdown, man. But it goes to show you how people who lie convincingly in a way that we want to believe them, man, they're gonna succeed. We want to believe it. Why would we doubt them if we want to believe it? Unless someone brings our attention to it and says, hey, take a second look. Sometimes that's all it takes. Okay. I've mentioned several times on this channel that I become a firm believer in extraterrestrials, aliens, visiting the planet, UFOs, etc. I had good reason to believe. I've seen by now dozens of videos in which ex-military, ex-police, etc. are talking about UFOs. They've seen them. And some of the ex-military were saying they've seen that the military has captured UFOs with live aliens and that we have actual interactions with alien species. There's so many of these videos by so many professionals, it was hard to dispute it after a while. I mean, I was amazed. And then there's also videos where you actually see UFOs. And everything seems to fit. So I was a firm believer. Okay. It wasn't a conspiracy to me anymore. It seemed almost all too obvious. How did I not see it? Why did I not think about it? Obviously, we're being visited. There's billions and trillions of, okay. And then I found this channel. And he streams. He only streams. He's a really cool guy. And he used to be a believer. And he became a lawyer along the way, during the time. Like he started 20 years ago, and anyways. And so he started to question things like a lawyer. And he started to watch how the UFO community evolved over the years. And he came to the conclusion that we're being lied to by all these guys. They're all psychopaths who see the previous guy who lied and says, hey, I can make some money off this. And they lie too. And what he made perfectly clear, and this is really what I was like, damn it, I didn't see it. This moderator keeps pointing out, this lawyer, guys, all these stories are very similar, and we see it, that they're all similar because they reflect the same reality, the same truth. But in truth, no, it's these psychopaths playing off our minds, saying, wait a second, I'm going to make a story that's very similar to the last guy. That way they'll believe me. Also, the guy pointed out that all these stories from all these military guys, when you actually look at what they're saying and you look at the facts, there's no evidence to back up any of it. Any of it. So if we know 1 out of 100 people are psychopaths, okay, there's millions of military over the years, right? Or hundreds, yeah, there's millions of people who have been in the U.S. military over the years. So we're going to be getting these, when people go, have you seen a UFO? Have you been in the military? Who's going to come and answer the ad or answer the call? And by doing further deep research, this guy did deep research into some of the people. One of them is Bob Lazar. He's the one I really believe the most. He said he had been on Area 51 with alien technology. He worked on it. But then this guy looks at the guy's words, Bob's words, very closely. And he makes us realize that he's not saying anything that doesn't give us what we want. He's not talking about things that we're not thinking about. In other words, he talks about the aliens. He doesn't talk about what food they eat. He says they eat plants back home, but he doesn't say if the plants are different. He doesn't talk about if they have pets or animals. Because these are things that normally when you think about an alien, he knows, and you and I know, that you're just thinking about the freaking alien. You're so excited about the alien. Who's worried about if they have a pet dog back on the planet, whatever. That's like the last thing you're thinking about. So this lawyer guy points out, he goes, if these things were true, these small details would be uncovered along the way. But none of these guys talk about it. They're all just feeding off each other's information. And he goes, because of that, it becomes an archetype in our mind, like a Jungian archetype, the alien. And as long as they feed into this Illuminati, alien, military, grand conspiracy, it feels so comfortable to us on some level that as long as everyone stays within those boundaries, they can pull the wool over our eyes and make some money off it and get some narcissistic supply. I mean, at the end of the day, just because they're military, if they don't have proof, all they have is a story. Who cares if they're military? If you were military 30 years ago, it doesn't mean you're the same guy today, especially if you're broke, especially you being a homeless veteran. Now you need some money, and someone's offering you $1,000, even $500. You're gonna show up at that studio and record a video. And the more I listened to this guy, and the more I went back to watch all the videos I had seen, it was like thinking about my parents again in a whole new light. I was like, oh my God, I was fooled. For example, there's one guy who's in the Canadian military, Paul Hellier, who's talking about UFOs. And he's within the context of this big package, this big channel, this serious disclosure where they talk about disclosure of UFOs. And in my mind, and everyone else's mind, as I discovered, we all projected that he had said that he believed and he had seen UFOs. But this lawyer says no. He says, go back and watch it again. It's just the way they put him in there. But in fact, all he said throughout the hour and a half was that he'd heard about UFOs. People had claimed the UFOs. He believes that they're out there. He believes that further research must be done, that it's important for the future of the planet. So when people say here, important for the future of the planet, that's like a psychopath talking spiritual nonsense. You hear that, and all of a sudden you believe. You see? It was an eye-opener and a big letdown, because at this point, I'm of the opinion, unfortunately, that it's possible, but it's much more likely that the aliens and UFOs we see in the sky are just explainable technologies that other militaries are using, or just even, in my opinion, some of them could be like a spotlight on the clouds. Whatever the explanation. I mean, I hope they're aliens. I hope there's UFOs, but the bottom line is that what this guy pointed out is there's no evidence. That is what I did not ever see with my family. My mother was my father was a successful businessman, but I didn't see evidence of it. They said he was. The money came in. Okay. But that's what psychopaths do. They say there's something and they get money in. somehow magically because they're doing something corrupt. But I didn't see it. I didn't see it. My ex-girlfriend, when she would leave, she would tell me that she was just sitting around talking to a bunch of people at the coffee shop. I never saw evidence of that. If I ever found her at the coffee shop, she'd be talking to one person at a time. She was making deals. I never saw her hanging out at the coffee shop, quote unquote, like she claimed, being sociable. She just said that because she knew that that is something that I wouldn't. It sounds reasonable. Normal people do that. It's a spiritual thing. She's sitting around just blah blah blah. She would say. She said, "I'm just doing the blah blah blah, sharing my emotions." She would say with my feelings. She doesn't have emotions. She would just feed me this spiritual stuff, and that really is. That's a good way to identify a psychopath. You know, they have all these. Even my father, even though he said that it's better to be feared than to be liked, like I've said before, he had a lot of these saying that you would, even my mother too, that you would just think that they believed in it, you know, if only. So the UFOs, I was completely fooled, and now when I go back and I watch UFO videos, it's like meeting people who are psychopaths. Oh wow. Okay, I'm gonna take this opportunity. So my friend got out. He's a psychopath, guaranteed, since a child. I've known him since I'm a child. He ripped us all off. He stole from all of us. He's just been in jail for every kind of crime. He's a predator. So he gets out, and I text my friend, and they're together. So my friend hands him the phone, and he texts me that he made some mistakes in life, but you know, he wants to get together. And my first thought, as someone who's studied these characters, is he committed severe crimes of fraud, and he bankrupted elderly people of their life savings. That's not a mistake. And that's all I can think of, is that he's a psychopath. He's not taking responsibility. To say it's a mistake, he's not saying he's sorry. He's not saying he was a lowlife. He's not saying, I don't know what happened to me. He's not saying, he's not even saying he was wrong. He's saying he made a mistake. And I just was like, dude, man, if I get together with you and I start to think about what you did, I'm going to lose my fucking temper. And God knows what's going to happen. I don't think I can get together with him. I'm thinking this, right? I have not seen him, and I'm keeping I stopped looking at those texts. I cut my text messages. After that, I'm like, you know what? Better to be isolated. Don't look for trouble. He's got parents, you know, and they took him in again after jail. So everyone I know has parents. So they can always run back. If he gets me in trouble, he gets bailed out by his parents, and I'm left in there to rot. So I stay away. But I made a little joke to him. I said, hey, he sent me a photo of himself, and he looked great compared to his mug shot. He looks like a totally new man. So I said, man, you look really good. I said, I was expecting something like your mug shot, as a joke. Psychopaths don't know how to take jokes. Okay, that's something I noticed. My ex-girlfriend, my father, my mother. I mean, these people, they don't know how to take jokes. He says, the first thing you learn in jail is don't criticize people. And I'm thinking, dude, first of all, you're not in jail anymore. Second of all, don't criticize people. You just said you made some mistakes. If I can't criticize you, well, what's going on? Like, either we criticize each other openly or we don't. And secondly, I complimented you. But most importantly, what I found was that he was externalizing his locus of control. He wasn't saying, hey, I'm offended, or hey, I don't think this. He said, the first thing I learned in prison. In other words, externalized. You see, external locus of control, because they don't have their own compass. And I just felt it right away, and I was like, you know what, I would love to have the heart and the time and the soul and the ability to take the risk, but I'm just going to have to keep pushing that one off. Have I hit 2 in the morning? It's only 1:30 in the morning. Oh boy. I'm gonna be up till about 7 in the morning. I think tonight. I really, my rhythm is totally off. Since it's been hot, I've been sleeping all day till 6 o'clock and staying up till 6 in the morning. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I think this is the last video of the night.